Welcome friends! Thank you for joining me again. I'm Jen, the Taxidermy Witch, and we're on to the second video in my Full Moon Blessed Things series and what you can do when you have the full moon to bless something. So, first thing I want to talk about was in the last video we talked about full moon blessed sand that I make for protection. There'll be a part 2 to that when I actually make the protection sand. Now we know how to bless sand, salt, and sugar, right? Now next I want to talk about water. But in the last video I was scrambling trying to find a book to show you guys, and that was this book. It's the Lewin's, they put one out every year, and in this book you can find like the best time to pick your mugwort during a full moon. You can figure out the best time to pick the marigolds like I was talking about. All these different things. You can look up, the list is endless of what you can find in here. It doesn't go into particulars on any kind of rituals or anything, but outside of rituals and spells, this is one of my favorites. So there's that if you need to pause it. And message me if you have a question on if there's something in here that you might want to know about, because these are great. And you can kind of use them. I have a planner as well by them, so that when I write in my planner I know, oh, Tuesday's the full moon. Tuesday, you know, we start going into waxing or waning or whatever. So, and I'll make videos later on about what all those different things mean too, because it's not complicated once you kind of have a grasp on it, you know? It's easier than telling time, that's for sure. Okay, so there's that book that I wanted to tell you about. And then now I'm just going to say one way that I use my moon water. And that is by adding just a little bit of fresh mugwort and rosemary from my garden into right into just like a little bit of sparkling or just regular well water. Not a tap water, but a well water that I've blessed in full moonlight. And if you don't have the option, and if tap is your only option, then just go to like Trader Joe's or something, and their high alkaline water is actually in the high 8%, so it's one of the better ones. So this is super good. Glass container, glass straw. Remember, we always want to resonate that full moon blessed anything really, or any of our special herbs in glass, because plastic just kind of kills their resonation. Of course, if plastic's all you've got, it's all you've got, but think about it. If you just use recycling, wash it off, paint a new label on, I do that with a lot of my stuff, and I have glass everything. So my second choice is a paper bag rather than a plastic. So let's quickly, so we have so much to cover. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast, but let's quickly just talk about maybe some stones that you can use in the full moonlight, or the ones that are my very favorite. And I might not have all the names and pronunciations right, but I do the best that I can. So this is a beautiful selenite tower, and it's sharp on the edge, so you never want to bring your hand down on it, I found, because I got like a little selenite splinter. And it's a soft stone, so I mean if you dropped it hard enough it would just kind of shatter, and that's happened to me before. And then I make an awesome selenite oil, so as soon as this finally shatters, which someday it will, I'll be making an awesome selenite oil for us. And if I can't wait, then I'm just going to put it right in the middle and make the oil around it. We'll see what happens. But selenite, self-cleansing. But then remember also that you can cleanse all of your stones in the moonlight. And in any moonlight, but then in full moonlight, it's really going to have that energy, that blessing, that goddess attached right to it. Okay? So that's selenite. And I think it only comes in clear. I could be mistaken, but one that has a texture that's like it, and this is my like ultimate favorite. I think this is called black tourmaline, and everyone I've shown this to is like, how much does that weigh? I got on the scale with it, and it's about 16 pounds, and it's great. It's got this white, beautiful growth on the edge. It's as big as 2 of my hands, and pieces kind of fall off on your hands when you touch it. It's not as... You won't cut yourself on it like you would the selenite tower as easy, probably. I'm sure it could, you know, happen, but it is just so, so beautiful. And this to me looks kind of like outside. It's dark jet black. Like blacker than coal, just dark jet black. And then it's got these beautiful, natural, like, crystal-y deposits on it. And that reminds me of the sparkly moonlight in the black sky. So this one, I just love it so much. So, I name a lot of my things, but I don't name my stones. And that's funny because I don't even really know the names of a lot of my stones. You guys usually help me with that in the comments. Thanks again. And then this one, I'll just go ahead with confidence on number 3, my favorite number. This is the Rose Quartz. And this is a wand that I got from Yoni Grace. And if you know who Yoni Grace is, you know probably what this is. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But it's about the size of your hand here. And you know, you can use it to direct energy. Okay? From either direction. Normally, you want to put the smaller point toward what you want to pull from. So let's say the moon's up here. I put the smaller point toward the moon and the bigger point toward what you want to draw it to, which is yourself, okay? So I would point it like that, toward the moon over here, and you here, okay? Or if you wanted to guide your energy from you, the witch, on this full moon into a bottle, you could do it that way too, okay? From you holding the bigger end, you're the energy putting the energy out from the bigger end and pointing it toward where you want it to go, okay, into your moon water. So rose quartz, and this rose quartz wand was quite expensive. I normally never spend this much on a stone. It was $150 plus shipping, but I think I was paying probably for the name Yoni Grace. She's great. Look her up. And then, funnily enough, just from a really cool small metaphysical shop, this one I ended up paying like $75 for, and that's shocking. The selenite tower I paid $20, $25 for, and then this is called Hematite, I think, and I think it's something that's formed in the desert, kind of like a meteorite type of deal, but I'm not 100% sure. I got it because I was looking for a chunk of iron, and a woman at the my favorite place called the Crow's Nest, I believe, Crow's Nest Apothecary in Greenwood. I told her I was looking for iron, and I told her what it was for. It was for when you like come around your menstrual cycle. Iron is supposed to help you because your most blood types are mostly iron. And she was saying that this is an excellent stone for grounding and doing the same things that I wanted to do, give or take. So she was super helpful in helping me figure out something I needed help with. And if I place this on my belly, it really does make pain leave. And that could be completely mental, you know. I'll show you another thing that if I place on my belly, it'll make pain leave. And that's my cauldron lid. And sometimes I can fit that right in the lid of my pants. And it's nice because it's cold. And so that feels good when you have cramps. But also, the cauldron lid it's cast iron, right? So the whole time I was out there looking for iron. And when I got home and I didn't end up finding iron, found something way cooler, right? Because I had this at home. So my mom was actually like, just get a piece of cast iron. And I was like, right, okay, cool. So there's that little tip that I didn't expect to put in this video, but really glad that I did. So iron's really good because when you're losing so much blood during that time, you are going to need to replace it with energies, and you can get it and you can absorb it from the metal being so close to your body, that natural, beautiful metal. So now I want to show you, I'm going to get these stones out of the way. I've got a lot on the table to talk about. Before I do any workings like this, I always cleanse and smudge and make my space clean, which I've done. I've used my besom on the top of this table. And then also, what I did before the video started, and I'll do it again just now so you can see it, is I sprinkle some Moonblessed, just regular old Morton Moonblessed salt, where I'm going to do my workings. And before I take my besom and sweep that away, I'm going to make, I know I showed you this atame, but this is the one that I use for dirt and sand and earths. This is the one that I use when I'm using it in the air. Like, for instance, if you were casting a circle, or if you were out in gathering some dirt from somewhere spooky or something like that, and you didn't want to, you just want to ask for something from the space, I do my personal symbol just right here in the air. And this is made out of a piece of wood and a horn that my uncle made for my mother in the 60s or in the 50s. They were just kids. It was in the 40s if they were just kids, I'm thinking. So this is something that I've really been close to, and I like to keep that with me. And when I'm doing my moon water stuff, I use it then. So over the salt, I'll do that. And then I take my besom, and I ask, cleanse this space of all negativity. And any kind of like prayer you want to say, it doesn't have to be exact words. It's just however you're feeling, right? So it's like, think of in your head what you want. What do I want from this moon water? A lot of the times I need this moon water to take pain away from me, to heal my body, to heal my plants, to nourish us with the minerals that we're not getting from the water from the tap, right? But now the moon's going to put in ultra magic into whatever you're asking for, and then a full moon is just going to, like, make your own ritual out of it, right? I've made my own ritual out of it. Sometimes I throw mugwort on the table if it's a time where I feel like it's a little bit creepier or the energy is just a little bit more intense. I'll throw mugwort on the table to amplify that. I'll burn frankincense in the room. And you just ask for what you want. So all these waters today are going to help all of my friends understand easily how they can have their own confidence, and that's what I ask from you today. Spirits, help us do this. So I want to show you how to make an elixir. This elixir you can put in the moonlight and it heightens it. But this is an elixir that you don't need the moonlight for. You could just call it a simple crystal elixir. And then if you put it in the moonlight, now it's a full moon elixir. Okay? So basically, I've got a jar like that looks like a fishbowl, but it's not a fishbowl, okay? I think it's like a nut jar that I thrifted. And it's got a metal lid that just screws on. Okay. Now, I have two ways that you can do this, because the most important thing is that these crystals that you're going to add in, they can't touch the water, because the crystals could have poisons in them, and a lot of them do, that when you drink them, they become toxic to your body, okay? This is so important. Not enough of the videos online stress this. Don't let your crystals touch the water unless you are 1000% sure that it's safe. And I don't let any of my crystals touch the water unless it's just for a second and I do a quick dip on it, to be honest. And some of the crystals will just sit there and deteriorate and turn into soft putty, which is wild too. So remember, when the water is getting into those crystals, they're falling apart, and then you want to be careful that you're not drinking something that just, like, yes, minerals are great for your body, but if you have too many, it's toxic and you could die. Okay, so that's why I want to keep it separate. So whatever crystals or items even you want to use, and I've never seen an item used, and I'll tell you what I mean in a second. But one way that I was like, cool, you could just get one of these science beakers and then put crystals in there and into here and fill it up with water around it, which I'll do a demonstration of. Now, clear quartz, a point, especially on a full moon, excellent all-purpose. Amethyst, I feel, is so awesome in the moon. This is a little polished piece, but you guys know I'm always loving these like big chunky raw pieces. Now, this isn't gonna fit into here, so you could go into your witchy toolbox and get a hammer and get a cloth and go outside on the concrete. Don't do it in here, this would break, and then just crush it, you know, and crush with your intent. crushing this amethyst to heal my body, so mote it be. I'm crushing this amethyst to purify my body, so mote it be. You get it. And just say it however it makes sense to you, but push that intent in there, you know, and you're in between that and the concrete outside, super safe. I like it. And when you're out there on the concrete, take your salt out there with you, you know, shake some of that. Nobody's going to see what you're doing. Honestly, you know, unless you have super nosy neighbors. And if they do ask you what you're doing, be honest. Like, I don't tell my mom, hey mom, I'm a witch. I don't tell my daughter, I'm a witch. But I tell them absolutely every single thing I do in detail. And I just don't use the word witchcraft to my daughter and my mother. And everybody else just seems to kind of know what's up, you know? And when they ask, like, what's that for? I'm like, I'm focusing my intent to get the things I want. And I'm using herbs and assistance with nature. And they're like, cool. Like herbalism. And I'm like, absolutely. Energy and herbalism. And they're like, okay, I get that. And it's just like, energy is science, right? And herbs are herbs, and so that's what I'm saying. You know, people don't really need to know what you're doing because I'm never dishonest about it. But the words scare people sometimes, so don't lose friends over it. You know, but I don't feel like you have to do these things in private, and when you do, it makes it even like look worse, I guess. So these were the stones that I could find. These are some like clear smoky quartz. Those are great for, like, anti-negativity, and they're an all-around, almost all-purpose. Not as all-purpose as the clear quartz, but I would say it's the next most all-purpose besides the selenite. And I keep these, and I have about, like, 40 of them, in this glass jar in the moonlight in my window all the time with all the rest of my stones. Okay, so let's say you didn't have a beaker, you just had a clean one of these. You sure could just put that in there and pour the water over it, but I'm touching this all of the time, and I'm like, you know, I don't sanitize it all the time, so I'm going to be using, like, something super clean, because that's the whole point of this, is to keep it sanitary and clean. Yeah. Here's the deal. If you didn't... Okay, this isn't going to fit in once I do this, because it's taller, so you could get something like this, and then just dance it out to the moonlight, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I don't have saran wrap, so we're just going to have to say that you could put this in here, fill it up with the smaller stones, and then fill your water around that, so that there's the glass barrier in between the stones, the water, and then the other glass container. You would just fill it, you know, almost all the way, and then put the saran wrap really tight on the top so it kept that beaker in place. Like, you know, but be careful, hold it with your hands, and just have focused intention on your way out there. Everything will be perfect. Now I'm going to show you a way that you could do it where it'll all fit in. And also, so these wouldn't have fit in the beaker. You could just put an amethyst chunk inside some kind of glass. And I love amethyst and smoky quartz together, I'll just be honest, so I'm going to do the combination of those two right inside this jar. And then, now I've placed that in here, and it comes up to about right here. So then, let me see. Alright, then you're going to place your good filtered water, not tap water, but good filtered water, or high alkaline water in there, or well water would be best. And fill it so that it's past the stones, because what you want is the moonlight, you want it to come through the jar, through the stones, through the jar, through the water, through the stones, back through, okay? And then that will make the whole thing a moonlight elixir, or even just a regular elixir if you just have the water and the stones at the same level. And you guys, this is how crazy we are about moon water in my family. This is like a 10-gallon glass Italian hand-blown jug. So you would fill this, and this, I put this whole thing in the moonlight, and then we put a big scarf over it so that it keeps, you know, sunlight out of it. And we have 2 of these jugs we fill up every full moon. And they're usually gone, the 2 big ones are usually gone in like, we have 2.5 people that live here. So, they're gone in like 2 weeks. Week. And that doesn't count our plants. And with a double clear glass, you can see the line coming up. So you know that you're right at the stones, which is really awesome. I'm going to try and hold this up again for you guys. Do you see what we're doing there? And I accidentally did get a little bit of water into here, but this is just for a demonstration purpose, so I'm going to take that water right back out. Alright, so amethyst and smoky quartz, and then you would just walk it out to your moonlight or put it right in your window, okay? So that is an elixir. And if you were going to add something else into that elixir, like, for instance, you wanted to drink water to increase your fertility or love, you could put taxidermy in there, and this is a raccoon dalcum, which is the penis bone of a raccoon, and I'm not trying to be gross, nothing will touch that, you guys, I'm just saying that's something, or you could put herbs in there, you know, you can make an herbal elixir with no actual herbs touching it, you know, it's the actual, just like, the rays through the water and the intention, you know, the intention alone, and that's what'll make it so cool, I think. You could fill this up with juniper berries, you know, you'll still have kind of the scent in there, that would be amazing. Another stone that you can have on the full moon, which is one of the best stones, are pearls, and these are really cool raw pearls that my husband gave me for one of my very favorite gifts, and what I do with them is I wear them in the moonlight, but then when I'm charging the water, I put the pearls on top of the water, and then the moon shines down through the pearls, and then the water's inside. That's the easiest elixir you can do, right? And now I'm about to show you another version that's way smaller of that same elixir. How's everybody doing? I've made a lot of videos and I'm like having a blast, so I hope you're enjoying them. The moonlight was one of the first things that drew me into witchcraft in general, and still one of my very favorite things. Okay. Another quick thing before I show you how we can make these things is to say, when you make like these little like glass witches bottles and amulets, this is a little one I made for my daughter for protection. You can just set this out in the moonlight to recharge it. You can put it in your window to keep it charged, or you can go out there and hold intention during the moonlight and recharge it. You could put a new intention in there, even if the herbs clashed. It doesn't matter. You're more powerful than those herbs, but all the ones that are in here are ones for protection, and so we keep these in our bedroom windows, and I'll show you how to make these one day. But I wanted to tell you about that, and I've done that, so great. With this water, you could, once you've blessed the water in the moonlight, boil it in your glass kettle, and then use your astral tea, the astral travel projection meditation tea that we made the other day, and have full moon blessed tea, okay? you could do, you know how people make sun tea? You could do this and just soak the herbs all evening in just plain water. You know, you wouldn't want to heat the water necessarily, or you could heat it and then leave it in the full moon to be changed throughout the night into like a full moon tea rather than a sun tea. That would be awesome. I like that idea a lot, yeah. And then, now I'm going to show you how to make these, which are, I have so many of them. I bless as much moon water as I can on every full moon because I drink it. I give it to my plants. I'd bathe in it if I could, but you know, that would be like go out in the lake on that night. You know, if we had cleaner water, you know, I'd bathe in it if I could. So Moonstone is something that you can make moon water or an elixir with, even if you have no moonlight, okay? Let's say, for instance, you just have no window, no access, or you're a witch that, or someone that's practicing witchcraft that doesn't want anyone to know, so even putting something in your window is going too far. Well, Moonstone, and, in my opinion, raw pearls, both of those will make a moon-blessed water with no moonlight. And the research that I've done shows that, but more than that, practical magic. You know, the way I feel when I use the full moon blessed water versus the way I feel when I use my moonstone water. If I put enough intent over this moonstone, and the copper wire is between, and my blood type has a copper base, and I'll go into that in a different video, but I have an Rh negative blood type, so copper is the base of my blood more than iron, and that's a rare thing. But when you hold your DNA over the copper, over the moonstone, over the water, with your intention, everything's quiet, or you're listening to your favorite music, or you're just find like that place where you can do it, you know. That will make something that is just as potent as this, I tell you that. So that's another way that you could make, that's a way that you can make an elixir with a moonstone and no moon, okay? Moonstone's beautiful, to be honest. There's so many different types of shades and colors of moonstone. For instance, that moonstone that you just saw was like a creamy white, and a moonstone that I got at the same shop, but it's just a completely different type, looks like this, you know? And here's, you know, the other types. So I've done these around a metal dowel, is that what they call them? Like a big wooden dowel. And then put the copper wire around like that to make them so perfect like that. But that's how I bent these little guys. And then this I just did by hand. And I'm going to try and do one by hand with you guys here, if I can. So we'll see. But I just want to show you a couple more bottles I've done up. If you're getting really old bottles, guys, and you want to put moon water in them, just use it for spells and plants. Or maybe not even plants, but just spells. Because these old bottles are really cool, and the energies can be really fantastic, and you know how much I like them. But on the same token, it's not safe to drink out of these, you know. Even the ones that were used for medicines back in the day, like, you know, that stuff never really comes out of here. And the energies as well would never really come out of there, of the medicine, no matter what it was. So think about that, and it's super cool to have moon water in here, but just use it for something like blessing a space, or in a spell, or perhaps in a plant, okay? Not for ingestion. That could be dangerous. That could be dangerous. This is an old vintage bottle that I thrifted, and I was able to clean out because it was really clean anyway. And then this is a polished clear quartz. And then I've just bent a copper wire around that. Put that in the full moon. Okay, and then lastly, before we do lastly, because I'm going to put copper wire on these and then bend some smoky quartz and amethyst onto these bottles, which, like I said, the moonstones kind of can fall off and everything. Well, any stones can fall off. So we're just going to patch up these ones. There. Yeah, but I want to show you something first, because we're talking about the moon, and I kind of dressed for the occasion with this outfit. One of Alex and my best friends in the world, his name is Sarai, and we met her, she lives in California in Santa Cruz. We met her because she has this rad Airbnb, which funnily enough is on a Rob Zombie movie, and then I'll bring it all back around. But when we were there, we had first met and we realized that she was an artist and I was an artist, and we were comparing our art and everything like that. And then, can you see this? It's Sherry Moon Zombie in that House of a Thousand Corpses pose where she's like with the skeleton in the bed and the black and white, you know. And she's made it out of makeup. It's just made of like makeup she had, or expired makeup, or donated makeup that girlfriends gave her, or something like that. But she is so freaking talented and so amazing. But we're just talking about cool energies, and also Sherry Moon Zombie is my complete inspiration. And when I saw Lords of Salem, I fell in love with Sherry Moon Zombie's dreads. And just her in general. Like, she's such a cool lady. I hope someday I get to meet her. So yeah, we're going to tie up some of these. Sherry Moon Zombie, Rob Zombie, they're like awesome in my opinion. I love the cinema. And I love that he puts his wife in every movie. That would be like me and Alex. Like, he would put me in every movie because he's like, my wife is the cutest about whatever, you know? Like, that's when you know that you and your spouse are awesome. Like, you wouldn't have a lineup of, who am I going to have in my movie? No, I'm making movies so that I can put my wife in them. That would be fun, fun, fun. So we got to pull out the toolbox. My witchy toolbox here. And my numbers are 3 and 5. I like to do things either in 3, 5, or 7. Because, like, 7's the number of alchemy. But I've got 2 amethysts, and 3 smoky quartz, which altogether equal 5. We'll see what ends up working here. But in my toolbox today, I just wanted to say, if you didn't have copper wire to put around here, there's loads of other things you can use. Because I am, like, crafty like that, and I've already thought it through for you guys. Oh, also, to get copper wire, you just go to the hardware store, and then you ask for it. And I would get the thinnest one they have, I think. It's either the thinnest or the thickest, but my guess is it's the thinnest, because we're using it for jewelry. So, anyway, you could also use suede bits. You know, you could cut them and tie them around the outside of there, and then that would be taxidermy, wouldn't it? That would be really cool.